Welcome to the 4 Rooms podcast, where we explore the 4 rooms of entrepreneurship: health, wealth, scale, and relationships. Each episode is dedicated to opening new doors and uncovering insights that empower you to design your entrepreneurial journey to be both lucrative and fulfilling. And now, your hosts, Amber Spears and Brett Kaufman.
All right, welcome to the 4 Rooms podcast. I'm here with my dear friend, Cody Bramlett, and he's with Supplement Millionaire and Wattle Media still.
Yeah,
yes?
That's the parent company.
Yeah, the parent company. Cool. Well, I'm excited for you to be here. We're in Atlanta right now, hanging out. And he was our premier sponsor, blew us all away yesterday with his amazing talk. And today I'd just really like to cover your journey and why you're doing this, why you're here today, because you really don't need to be here. It's one of the things I admire about you is you're here to serve.
Yeah.
Your business is doing so well, and yet you still decide to carve out hours of your week to support other entrepreneurs that want to grow their own supplement business. And that's a huge curiosity to me, because I see you as building your legacy in doing this. So can you, like, maybe not at the beginning of your whole life, but can you just walk me through, like, where did you hear about this crazy industry? Why did you decide to, like, join it? Like, tell me all the origin story of Cody Bramlett. Yes.
I've always heard about the internet stuff. I've kind of understood the idea of direct marketing, I think even in high school. And I was in, I think, junior year of college, and my friend Logan Christopher, he has a great company called Lost Empire Herbs. He goes, "You want to go to this Matt Fury seminar in Florida? All you got to do is pay for the flight. I got a hotel room you can stay in." And I was like, oh, sure, okay. And I went, and I remember them being at this event talking about how, this Nate Griffin was there. He's like, "I made $800,000 last month," and I'm like just mind blown by all these numbers. And they're like, "For $7,000, we can make you a website and make you money." And back then I was like, it's impossible. I could never afford to do that. Right. God, I wish I would have back then, because I'd be many millions richer. But that was kind of my first real taste into seeing the entire, idea of the industry. And after that, I always kept in my mind. And at that point, I fell in love with kettlebells and teaching that fitness kind of realm. I came home from summer, and my brother was playing with kettlebells, and I'm like, "This is the coolest thing." And my idea was, how can I market this online? How can I make this online? And years passed, nothing really came of it. And the gym that I was at, the owner was a wife of a billionaire, and she just basically gave up the gym and left. And so I inherited like 35 clients because I was just teaching for fun. And then at that point, I was like, I got to take this online. And at around the same time, my brother and I started going to Bedros Keuilian and Greg Valentine events, and back in the day, LT stuff, and we were learning about the online marketing stuff, as well as learning how to keep our gyms operating and successful. Which, by the way, never own a gym.
I won't.
You never invest in one. You own one. It is unprofitable. It's a hobby. And during that time, we were like, okay, let's make something. So we filmed an entire kettlebell workout series. And when someone from the group promoted it, and afterwards, after selling $20,000 of product, I didn't know what to do next. And at the time, I had a $150,000 a year sales job, so I had kind of a golden handcuffs. I was dating someone who was exorbitantly wealthy, and I thought, like, I could just, it didn't matter, right? I don't have to really worry about this. And of course, life changed, and my brother went out and did it on his own. He created the Garage Warrior, and then Warrior Media, and Warrior Made, and all these different kind of brands that were working out, and so he made success. And I was like, I gotta do something different. And I had so many gym clients coming in, and their supplements were just worthless. They were trash, and they were paying me $100 for a bottle of some junk. And I'm like, you can just go down to Sprouts, the grocery store, and get something better for $25.
Right.
Go do that. And it bugged me. And then I was complaining to my brother, and he's like, you should start your own brand. You should make your own product. And when we were on vacation on a family trip in Mexico, kind of just mapped it all out. And I spent about a year and a half kind of just trying to understand what direct marketing is, how to sell, how to get affiliates to promote you, how to make a sales page, how to host it. Basically, every single idea you ever need in a business, there's always a question like, just build a website. How do you build a website?
Right.
Like today, it's easier. 2016, they didn't have drag and drop builders.
Right.
So it was very confusing and complicated. And so through just trial and error and perseverance and a lot of debt, and I loaded up like 3 credit cards and had no way of paying it back. I was just like, this is happening or I'm losing everything. And it happened. First week, it did $25,000 in sales. And then from there, just more and more success. But as you might know, talking to so many people, success comes with failures.
Yes, it does.
And I went through a bunch of them. And in 2020, we had just, insane amounts of success, but then we had massive issues with credit card processors and fraud. And we had over $1 million frozen in accounts that I didn't have access to for a year and a half.
Holy smokes. So let's double click on that. That 2020 was such a big year for you.
Yeah.
You did, was it 20 million in sales?
20 million in sales,
yeah. So 20 million in sales. Of that 20 million, $1 million was held up by merchant accounts. What else was happening? Like, this is the highs and lows of entrepreneurship. So, right, like $20 million in a year, I'm sure people are like, wow, it's amazing, right? Walk me through like the highs and lows of that.
Definitely. So as you know, when you're scaling a business, you need to scale a team, right? And at the time, I'd never run a team before. I've been a solo entrepreneur. I've been a sales rep, right? Those kinds of aspects. I'm good at working with people, but I've never had the experience of doing it. So I basically had to learn how to build a team, how to scale it up, and how to run a company at the exact same time, as well as learning all these things that I hadn't learned before. Like I had not run on Facebook besides which was one agency prior to that. I had not had my own credit card processor before. I had been doing it to ClickBank and Buy Goods at the time.
Right.
And so it was a lot of learning curves and a lot of things I just didn't know. And there's so many things I didn't know that eventually they all started unraveling. Like we lost all our Facebook accounts, right? Again, we lost all our processing. The offer started falling apart. And
it's heavy.
Yeah, the offer didn't seem to last as long as we hoped it to. It's just like, go, 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 go. Okay. And it just kind of all fell around the same time in probably the middle to end of Q3. And so we had basically 9 months of just insane success. And then we just basically had to figure it all out. And during that whole time, we had technical issues. We accidentally double sent a huge batch of orders that got sent out twice and probably spent $50,000 of products that went out.
Wow.
So, I mean, you name it, there was a mistake.
Right.
And in that whole time, I just learned so much. I, of course, reached out to everybody I knew because I like to build relationships and friendships and just tried to ask for help from many different people. And in that time, I was seeing other people start businesses and start to go through the same things or start that success before those crazy shit happens, and me trying to warn them and then being like, that's not, why would that happen?
Right.
And then seeing the same things that happened to me happen to them 3 or 4 months later. And that's what kind of inspired me to teach again, to help again, because I just saw friends and colleagues failing and going through the same pain that I went through. And I'm like, why is no one sharing this?
Right.
Why is no one going out there and saying, yeah, I made $1 million, but I lost 4.
Right.
Like be able to help people understand how to get through the scary times to succeed is so important to me, because that is success. It's not about, no one's just always a rocket ship, right? There's always ups and always downs. Just entrepreneurs and owners don't tend to share the downs because they're ashamed by it.
Right.
Why? We all go through it.
So true, dude. I'm really curious, like in that year, like 2020, right? This is like 4 years ago, but like, I think for so many of us, it still feels like 2020. It feels like 2021 almost. It's like we blended into this whole pandemic thing. For us in like physical product supplements, 2020 was like, for most of us, a boom year.
Oh yeah.
Right? I'm curious, when you say everything was falling apart, like why did your mids get shut off? Who got them turned back on? Like if you cannot collect credit card information from your clients, you really are going to struggle to have any sort of business, right? Because I'm really curious, like, when you said, how did you solve the problem with the mids? What did you do with your team tactically? Like, walk me through that whole thing.
Yeah, definitely. So initially, first off, building a team's tough, right? You hire people that are not the right fit sometimes. Yeah. You bring people in that are going to solve all your problems, and you realize that they are a problem, right? And so I had to learn how to build the right team, and it took a few hires and fires, key individuals, before I found the right fit for the company, so we could march forward in a way that not only just made me feel comfortable, but I was also proud of, and you knew it was going to succeed. So there was those trials and tribulations happening. In terms of the credit card processing, right, this is just something that no one should do until you have done at least $10 or $15 million in sales. And you have a team, because credit card processing requires an understanding of your relationship with the MITs, the processors, an understanding what all the fraud protection tools that are out there, like Count and Mitigator, as well as the tools that are built in. And then also being able to manage the mids and how you're actually loading the balances on the different mid processors you have. So most companies will start out and be like, well, I'm just using Square or something like that, right? I'm just using PayPal. What's going to happen? A lot of these processors don't actually want to do supplements and nutrition related items because it's considered risky.
Why?
Good freaking
Is it because
question.
you're ingesting
No,
I'm always curious when they say risk. I'm always like, what is the risk? That's the part.
Risk is on them financially for chargebacks and refunds.
Got it.
Because I think it's an impulse purchase that people make. They're like, oh, I'm going to buy this supplement to help me sleep. I'm going to buy this supplement to help with this problem. And then they don't take it, and then they want a refund, and the refund policy passes, and they issue a chargeback. That goes on the credit card posture. That's their risk, right? Because if you're not there as a company anymore, they have to take the hit. So their goal is to mitigate as much as possible. And so you just consider it high risk. So a lot of credit card processors, at least back when I was first doing this, they would set your processing up not for a mid that runs supplements. They put you on like a t-shirt mid. Basically, it's kind of fraudulent what they were doing. And then when the actual banks do a deep analysis and they see what's going on in your account, they're like, oh, we don't want to do that. And they just shut you down for that reason. Or if you don't have those fraud tools, like I didn't have set up because no one told me they existed or I needed them, all of a sudden, fraudulent people use stolen credit cards to buy your product and then list it on Amazon and eBay.
Wow.
So we had, I think, $300,000 of fraud that was hit on our account.
Smokes.
Oh, yeah. So basically $300,000 in fraud.
And $1 million in reserve.
$1 million in reserves, probably $50,000 to $100,000 in duplicate orders that went out. So it was a cluster F at the end of the year, which ate into basically the second half of the year's profit and kind of made me go into a panic. I mean, I had to get like a not necessarily a shady loan, but an incredibly expensive short-term loan to float things to keep the business going. And, sales were still happening, so I knew I could. But it was scary. A lot of things happening at once and all these things that, how could you ever know? Like they don't teach this in school.
Well, you learn it as you're scaling, but you scaled so fast, dude. Yeah. That's like incredible. Because weren't you at like 2 million and then you went to like 20 million? Like where was that whole trajectory?
Yeah. So basically first year is like 2.5, second year is like 3 or 4, third year was like 3.5, and then like 20.
Yeah. Right. Like that's crazy to like hear like all the things that come with that scale. Yeah. It's really, really cool, dude. I love seeing I met Tyler first, right? So your brother, and he's super smart. And then I met you and I was like, oh my God, the two of you guys, like dynamic duo. And it's been really cool seeing like how you guys have both done your own things in this community and how you've come back into the kind of the DR, like network marketing space. I've come in to teach and lead now, which I like, I'm always curious about because what you're referring to 20 million sales is Wattle Media, right? Yeah. So that's your awesome beach gummies and like all the other things. Yeah. Give us a breakdown if you can of like Wattle versus Supplement Millionaire and why you do each thing and how they work together. Because I think they're really cool. Anything that you're learning in Wattle will apply to Supplement Millionaire. Exactly. So I'm really curious about that.
So first off, we have to address the name Wattle Media.
Yes, right? Wattle, why?
Everyone goes, what is this?
What is that?
And I had a really cute Cocker Spaniel. And she was a rescue. We got her when she was about 9 years old, and she had just had a litter. Basically, she had jumped into a taxi in Tijuana, and she had escaped or was let go of the tree, and she jumped into a taxi, and that taxi was hailed by the cousin of the rescuer. So the rescuer just drove by her cousin's house, dropped off the dog, and then went to work. And we've gotten this beautiful little just snappy Cocker Spaniel that had her own attitude, and she had so much loose skin.
She's Latina, so she's going to have an attitude.
She's and she had just had a litter, so she had tons of wrinkles and rolls that never really went away. And so when she walked, she would kind of waddle around.
That's cute.
And she was our little Wattle bear. And
that's so cute. I didn't know that.
Yes, and
so great.
When we had Science Natural Supplements, the first supplement brand, and I wanted to make a parent company. I named it that. My wife's like, "This is the dumbest name ever." I'm like, "I don't care. I'm doing it. I love this dog."
I love it.
That sadly she's no longer with us, but I always keep her in mind from that business, and I love her to death for it.
I've known you for years. I didn't know that's why you named it. That's great.
It's fun. So anyway, Wattle Media is the parent company of everything. And the reason we structured that is because as I came out with new ideas, new ventures, new partnerships, I wanted to make sure that I had a structure and an ownership that could host and own it all. So my staff, my team, my employees, we all sit there, and then we service all the different companies beneath it. So beneath that is Science Natural Supplements, which is the majority of my supplement brands. And those ones are for our generic buy one, get 2 or 3 free offers, our long form sales pages, like a rare new Flexi CBD, CBD cream offer, things along those lines. They all sit within Science Natural Supplements. And, that has also an email list that does a couple $1 million a year because it's grown massively over the years, and all the different products and brands. And we sell via Facebook, we sell via a lot of affiliates. Yeah. And that's been that success. And then Supplement Millionaire came from, like I said, seeing people struggle, who are my friends and colleagues. And I was at actually my good friend Stephanie Georgi's virtual event during COVID. And I was just sitting in one of the virtual rooms hanging out, and people were asking what I wanted to do. And I said that. And then the guy became a great friend, Peter Zemis, joined over in the group. And he's like, I've run masterminds and groups before. Let's do something together. And so we kind of created this initially, and he eventually went his own way. But we had just kind of made a community of helping people understand every aspect of the business. Because like we mentioned before, all those things I had to figure out, all those failures I went through, no one should have to do that. I can explain all this shit in 30 minutes. Like, you should not have to go through the pain I went through, because there's a step when you're starting here, there's a step when you're at 5 million, there's a step when you're at 10 million, and you should be prepared for that next step. You should have all the knowledge, all the insights, all the connections. And I just want to make sure I could share that with people, because it shouldn't be as hard as it is to start these businesses.
Well, it's like the concept of mentoring is so important, right? Like I keep coming back to that, because it's like in business, having somebody like you, if I wanted to build a $20 million+ a year supplement company, if I could call you and have you help me, guide me through the process, I would much rather do that than trying to figure it out on my own. I know some people don't have time, and some people don't have money. Some people have both, right? So for me, it's like, if you don't have the money, you have the time. So you can figure it out yourself, but you're gonna have a lot of pain. Yeah. Right. So for you, if they're gonna work with you, they have to have some level of success, right? Because you're not gonna work from 0 to $1 million. You're probably, I'm gonna guess for you, that for you to be able to really help somebody, it's gonna be somebody who has some money and understands the value of their time.
Yes.
So that you can help them grow into the next kind of level. So can you kind of walk me through, or am I right, or am I kind of speaking for you?
You are right, and there is the other side.
Okay,
too.
great. Yes.
So I definitely can help someone from start. Like, I have had many people who have come in and went, I want to make a brand. I'm like, really? Do you have any idea what you're doing? They're like, no, but I have friends in this industry and I need to do it. And so I've met people who've done that, but they have to understand there is risk. Right. I'm giving you the shortcut so you don't have to figure out how to do 30 things. You still have to do the work. Right. You still have to follow through. And there's still always risk that your offer or company may not jive with the market, right? So that there is always a challenge, there's always a risk. I mean, I have had probably 6 to 8 successful offers in my career, and I've probably made 10 that are failures. So I'd say it's a good 50-50 chance that it just may not work. Now, my failures are successes to some people. Like, I had a couple $1 million failures, like $1 million offer, not that important to me, right? If it's not scaling 5-6 million, I move on. But some people, that's going to be a huge deal. So I can help people from scratch go from A to Z, but they have to be willing to know that there's that risk of, development, of getting the copy done, of getting the products manufactured if it's special and they can't get it on demand, right? Being able to take care of all those things. There's a $30,000 to $40,000 startup cost to build these businesses the right way. The right way. Now, did I start out spending that much? No, I probably spent 20 when I did it my first time over the 6 months. But it's that understanding that if you have that, I can help you. If you're like, hey, I have nothing, but I have tons of this time, I probably can't, because I'm going to be giving you tools that are too expensive, too high level for you. But for those who have a business, for those who are doing $20,000, $50,000, $100,000 in sales a month and want to do more, that's where it's really powerful, because I can go in and diagnose a funnel. I can give someone the tools and understanding of what they need to do to be looking at their offer every single day and week and month, and how easy it is to identify the small little changes they need to make a funnel go from $160 per customer to $200. And that happens wildly fast. That's huge. Yeah. I mean, the last week we've from 167 to 220 in an offer just by making 2 different changes. That's insane.
So when you're working with these entrepreneurs, like you're mentoring them, like walk me through like the process of what you do. Because I've seen it on the back end, but I think it's pretty cool. I'd love for you to so let's just say that I'm a supplement owner. I'm doing like, let's say $3 million a year selling supplements, and I want to scale that. And I come to you and I want mentoring. Like what would it look like to work with you directly?
Perfect. So, I do private coaching for some people who don't want to be in the groups, just want to get exact instructions to do. And for those people, I'll meet them once, twice a month, give them marching orders. And if they don't follow through the first 3 months, I fire them. Because I don't have the time for it, right? But for a majority of people, they want to be part of the actual coaching community. Because being a part of community, as you and I know, that's where growth comes. That's where you learn from. That's when you hear something, you're like, holy shit. And that's all it is, because someone else said it in the group. So I love that group. And so when people join the actual coaching, first I do is a discovery call. I spend 60 to 90 minutes just to understand you and your business, because I want to make sure that I can give you the best advice, because not everyone's the same. right? A direct marketing funnel can work for a doctor who's created a whole program and coaches people how to be healthy and they want to create products. It's going to be different than someone who wants to sell a blood sugar offer or a weight loss offer and wants to just maximize it for Facebook conversions.
Right.
So they're different, but the principles all apply. So I want to understand you, your business, your goals, where you are, your team, your availability to do stuff, where your weaknesses are in your business, where you don't have support, where you have struggles. So that way, number one, I can refer you to the right people who can support you at your need level. If you need designers, I have cheap designers to stupid expensive designers, right? Just depends on your wants, your needs, your budget. And I want to make sure that you have support first. So I connect people with the right team, right agencies and people that can help them. And then from there, they're going to get weekly coaching. And so every Thursday we do a coaching call where we bring on an expert or we go over a funnel review. And that's where it really is important that everyone that comes ready with asking for help. Because I know you know this. You've had coaching before. People show up and they just send their hands and say nothing.
They want me. That's a challenge with coaching, right? It's like, bring me your biggest problems. Let me help you solve it because I'm the expert in that area. Yeah. It's hard when, I'm trying to draw it all out of them. I'm sure as a coach too, like someone comes, I don't have anything to talk about today. I'm like, I know there's some stuff. And we start pulling it out. And then you're like, oh, wow, there's actually a lot more here. We're going to need 2 calls for that just to figure it out, right? Totally. I feel that.
So that's exactly it. And so it's tough when they don't do that. But for the ones who do, they get so much out of it. Because they're getting access to coaches they don't have access to. Right. They're getting access to me and my entire team. So, earlier you mentioned Wattle there, right? I do this daily.
Exactly.
So many coaching agencies out there aren't successful. They aren't doing $6, $8, $10 million a year in sales and telling you what they're doing today. They're telling you what they did in 2016.
Right.
It's different. It's different from 6 months ago. So the advice I'm giving today is not the advice I was giving last July when we had our event in New York. Right?
It's different.
It's way different. And so I'm making sure people are understanding what they need to do today to succeed.
I love that. I really think we need to stop on this distinction because that's the difference, right? It's like when I say you don't need to be here, that's what I mean. Like Wattle Bear, Science Natural Supplements, that whole holding company that you have does incredibly well. It's an 8-figure business. Yeah. So you could have spent all of your time just continuing to build that company. And then you take that team at Wattle Bear and you bring them over to Supplement Millionaire and have them train and coach. Yeah. So it is real-time transfer, which is one of the reasons why, when I got up in front of the room today, it's like most mastermind owners are not going to want another mastermind owner in their room. For me, what I see as a value add that's huge for our community is that you are leading an 8-figure supplement business and you're training other owners on how to become an 8-figure supplement owner. And there's a lot of them in here, right? So it's like the technical stuff that they're learning with you is very, very different. And then one that they're going to we all know who they are, that we're teaching from 2016, right? So it's like, that's really valuable, real-time, critical information. And that's what I love about Supplement Millionaire. And that's what I love about you because you're doing the work here. And then all you're doing is just translating it over and supporting everybody else. This is your legacy, dude. Yeah.
I love it. It's
incredible.
Teaching. It goes back to that kettlebell gym I owned, right? I love to teach people how to accomplish, do things, and succeed, right? In my gym, I sucked at all the community stuff. I tried to do barbecues and events. None of that stuff ever was successful.
You should have just done a dog thing. You should have just done adopt a dog, rescue dog, and it would have crushed, dude.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I thrive in that stuff. I love to get stuff done and help people get stuff done, inspire them how to do it. I just had another gentleman just joined our coaching just to help build his team. He's like, hey, I have 3 staff. I need to get to 10 because we're scaling so fast. How do I be a better leader? So I'm coaching that right now in that aspect of him. So I really love to just get to the meat and potatoes, solve problems, fix things so we can move forward. And I have some people that stay with me for years in the coaching, some people that just suck in that knowledge for 3 to 6 months and that's all they need and move on. It's great. Either way works for me. I just love to teach. Some people ask me, oh, you started a year ago, right? And I'm like, actually, no, it was end of 2020. And they're like, what? I'm like, oh, yeah, I did it for free for almost a year and a half.
You did.
Everyone came up to me and they're like, hey, can I get some help? And I'm like, sure. And eventually someone said, what do you charge? And I'm like, what's it worth to you? And that's when I started.
Then you're like, wait a minute, it's worth a lot to you.
I'll charge for this, right? I'll do more. And it's just a passion for me because I love to help. And also because I've developed a great team. So I don't need to do as much work as I used to.
Yeah.
I hear some people talking here about all the stuff they do, and I'm like,
Not me.
I don't do much of that. I have a team member.
I think that's the difference between an 8-figure business owner and 9-figure plus. It's like they're not doing as much. They're building leadership teams inside of the business.
Yeah.
And I think that's what you've done. And I'm watching you. That's how you're mentoring people through Supplement Millionaire. So I think that's great, dude.
Yeah.
And I that's what I love about you, because you really are here today outside of your business to serve everybody here that does supplements. Or I'm sure you could help other people, but supplements is really your passion.
Yeah,
right. That's like your.
It's the easiest thing to translate. A
Right.
funnel's a funnel, right? What I do, it can apply to almost anything, but I can give you exact steps in the supplement industry, and that's the biggest thing I want to be able to help with. But I definitely have helped people who are not in the supplement space build funnels and build offers, and it's fun to see their success there as well. But again, like I can just tell you exactly what works with supplements because I have the data, I have the experience. I can tell you what worked the last 7 days.
In real time, dude.
Yeah.
Like that's the killer. I love that.
Yeah.
That's why I have just so much respect for you, because I know that what you're teaching is actually real. Like, I mean, how many people do you know that have had all these major successes many, many years ago that are still charging $100,000 to come in and consult? And it's like everything has changed.
Yeah.
With the rise of AI and like, Google and Meta and all these changes that they're having, like everything you were teaching from 10 years ago does not apply. Like there are some principles that apply, of course, right? The core foundational principles will still be there, but the day-to-day, the nitty-gritty, the stuff that's I'm getting stuck on, like they can't help me. Whereas you can, because you're in there every single day. And I just think it's a really cool model. And I just admire you a lot for it, because I know why you're here with Supplement Millionaire. I know you're here because you love to teach. You don't need to, as a multi 8-figure business owner, you do not need to do this. And it's just out of the goodness and kindness of your heart. And I hope that you continue doing it and you keep having the fuel and the fire for that, because you're an amazing teacher.
Well, thank you. Yeah. No, I don't intend to stop. It's too much fun.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
You're doing great. So if people want to follow up with you, they want to learn from you, like they want to be in the Supplement Millionaire gang, like how does this whole thing work with
It's
you?
really simple, right? You just go to supplementmillionaire.com and put your information in, and we'll reach out to you.
Will you become a Supplement Millionaire
What do you mean?
if you sign up?
No.
Are you
Depends if you
becoming
put
a millionaire? Are you going to do it?
It depends if you put the work.
I can't like that.
Right?
Yeah.
Right? That's what was our whole talk
Yeah,
this weekend. Was
exactly.
get it done.
Yeah, get it done.
Do the
Yeah,
work.
exactly.
Right? I can lead a horse to water, but I can't make it drink, right?
Exactly.
So I can only give someone all the tools how to do it. And again, like if someone did this for me, God, how many more millions would I have? I can't even count.
How many more dogs would you have?
Oh yeah.
How many more dog bones would those dogs have? That's like
And my dogs would have their own dog house.
they would have their own RV, dude, and their own
Exactly.
driver. That's what.
Exactly. Yeah. So, I mean, for me, it's really about helping someone get to that point, just so they don't have to go through the struggles, the pain, and just the wanting to give up. They don't have to go to therapy events to figure out which piece of software to use or who to talk to.
So valuable.
They're going to get into my community and immediately know everything, and immediately know Amber and her community, because this is what works. This is where the smart people are. And that's what it's all about, is making sure that people are understanding what they need to do so they can get shit done, so they can hit their goals.
It's amazing.
Yeah. So they can retire one day and
Hopefully.
have it all.
Hopefully, yes. And you gave us a super great gift here as a speaker, because we're in Atlanta, for anyone watching or listening at our sales intensive. Is there anything that you would want to give any listeners? Do you want us to share any of the stuff that you gave for anybody listening in the podcast notes?
Yeah, 100% I do. And what I put together for everybody who was here was a video tutorial of 2 basic sheets you track for your offers. And these are phenomenal because I've spent years simplifying them so that way you can understand exactly where the pitfalls, where the weaknesses are in your offer. And so that way you can then go back and test and see how those tests can improve the offer. And it's a very simple spreadsheet to use. You have to be responsible, pulling your own data out, but I made a really simple video and the sheets are really simple to use. I mean, I could train my mom how to do this, who's a 7-year retired woman, no question she could. So I encourage you to share this to everybody, because it's a powerful tool that can hopefully get someone to make some corrections on their funnel, on their offer, to make more money. I mean, I see, if you follow this, an easy 20% gain in the first 30 to 60 days just by putting your information in, because you can see where the weakness is, so you can know where to put the time to what to test to be able to improve your profits in your sales.
That's awesome, dude. Well, thank you for being so generous and offering it to anyone listening or watching. I always learn so much from you, Cody. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for sponsoring this event. Thank you for just showing up with your heart, dude. I know, like I said, I hammer it all the time. Like, Cody does not need to be here. He wants to be here. He wants to be here to serve other entrepreneurs and to help them grow. He lights up when I see his clients winning. You're probably more excited when you see your clients win than even yourself, which it's such a beautiful thing, man. You just have such a heart for that. And I'm so grateful. And I really hope that everybody takes you up on downloading that and working with you if they're in the supplement business. So thank you for doing this with me today. I really appreciate you.
Yes, thank you.
Crushed it.
As we wrap up today's episode, we have something special just for you. If you've been inspired by what we've explored today and you're ready to take your learning to the next level, then our 4 Rooms Mastermind live event is the perfect next step. And because you're a part of our podcast family, we're offering an exclusive 10% discount on your registration when you apply and are accepted. This is your chance. It's your chance to build relationships with other ambitious entrepreneurs like yourself, to dive deeper into the 4 rooms of entrepreneurship, and to connect with experts who can truly help accelerate your growth. Simply follow the event link in the description of this episode and use the promo code 4rooms10. That's FOURROOMS10 on your application to claim this opportunity. This offer is subject to application approval and it's limited, so don't wait too long to make your decision. Join us and transform your journey with the insights and networking that only our live events can offer. Thank you for tuning in today. We look forward to seeing you at the event and, of course, right back here next time on the 4 Rooms podcast. Until then, keep balancing and keep growing. If you're looking to get even more from the 4 Rooms podcast, you don't want to miss our exclusive newsletter. This is your personal invitation to join a community of like-minded entrepreneurs who are all about balancing health, wealth, scale, and relationships. Each week, we're going to bring you additional insights, tips, early announcements, and other information that we just can't fit into this podcast episode. Plus, it's a great way to keep the conversation going and ensure you never miss a beat in your entrepreneurial journey. It's easy to subscribe. Just visit 4roomsmastermind.com, scroll to the bottom of the page, and enter your email. That's 4roomsmastermind.com, and just enter your email. We promise to keep things light, keep your inbox interesting, informative, and fun. Join the 4 Rooms community today, and let's grow together.